today. It is so great to be together, especially if you're joining us for the first time. My name's Noo.
And my name's Chris, and it is so good to be together today. If you're joining us for the first time, whether you're in one of our venues, joining us from home or joining us online, we would love to say hello to you. You can send us an email, say hi in the chat function, or speak to a member of our host team in the venue that you're in.
Also, if you're new, make sure you check out our social media and get involved, whether you're connecting digitally or physically. Find out what's going on across Freedom Church.
We know you're going to find today to be really encouraging, so why not go ahead and tell your friends and family all about it? If you're joining us online, hit that share button right now.
And today is a different kind of Sunday event. We are launching something entirely new out of Freedom Church, and we can't wait to tell you about it.
But first, we're going to worship together. Whatever is going on in your life right now, this is an amazing opportunity to sing and praise God. It's so releasing. So let's jump to our feet and bring all the passion we have to this time of worship.
Come on. Staring into your eyes makes my heart come alive. Suddenly brought to life when I met you. Reaching beyond the skies, running deep, stretching wide. Perfect love realized here with you. This love is for real, it will never let go, never let go. Whoa, it's more than just words, love beyond my control, out of control. Come on. This is real love, this is real love. Come on. This is real love, this is real love. You're pulling me closer and closer, holding my heart till the very end. Jesus, I'm found in your freedom. This is real love, this is real love. In your heart I'm found, and I want you, I want you, you won't let me down. And you got me, you got me. This love is for real, it will never let go, never let go. Whoa, it's more than just words, love beyond my control, out of control. You're pulling me closer and closer, holding my heart till the very end. Jesus, I'm found in your freedom. This is real love, this is real love. You're pulling me closer and closer, holding my heart till the very end. Jesus, I'm found in your freedom. This is real love, this is real love. Oh,
Waking up some mornings, watching myself. Feel like I don't know what's going on, I don't fear myself, yeah. And God, I don't confront tensions in my mind. Should I speak or I be quiet? Should I raise my hands or hold them down? Should I jump by rope or stand still? Should I read the word and don't and go there? And catching God's Bible going on. Will I let affect me? Remember what He has done for me. Yeah, cross it up for me. That's why I'm waiting up for Him. That's why I'm going crazy. That's why I'm giving everything. That's why I rise up, shout out, rising up for Him. That's why I'm all in, going to breathe the heaven up. That's why I'm letting down a fire burning inside on me, going consuming everything outside on, going on attracting everything around me. Yeah,
this is real love, this is real love. This is real love, this is real love. You're pulling me closer and closer, holding my heart till the very end. Jesus, I'm found in your freedom. This is real love, this is real love. Here in the valley of my soul, when I am lost and all alone, through the shadows I can see your love is chasing after me, yeah.
shame for victory. I feel my heart run wild and free. There is no place I'd rather be. I see my chains unraveling. All of my shame for victory. I feel my heart run wild and free. There is no place I'd rather be. Yeah. No mountain higher, no river wider. My heart may wander, your love will never stop chasing after me. Your love will never stop, never stop, never stop. Your love will never stop chasing after me. Your love will never stop, never stop, never stop. Your love will never stop chasing after me.
Hold me now in the hands that created the heavens. Find me now where the grace runs as deep as your scars. You pull me from the clay. You set me on a rock. You call me by your name. Make my heart whole again. Lift it up, and my knees go in soul for your glory. That I might stand with
Isn't it great to worship together? Today we're going to continue our Generation Generous theme in Freedom Church, but there's a twist.
Yes, today we're launching a new vision. In fact, we're launching an entirely new organisation that's born out of the heart of Freedom Church.
But before we share any more, we're going to take a moment to reflect. Throughout the history of our church, there's been so many things we've done to bless and care for and impact the world around us.
From running a cafe for refugees in the UK to feeding children living on the streets in Uganda, resettling them back into their family and helping to finance their education, we have sought out ways as a church to practically express the love of Jesus.
Just over a year ago, we had launched the Everyone Matters Fund to help people that were impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. And we were able to raise over $130,000. And through your generosity, we've been able to help and support over 12,000 people across 18 different countries.
How amazing is that? We're going to take a moment now to hear from some people living in communities that were supported by the Everyone Matters Fund. And we're going to hear about some different things that we've done around the world as a church over the last few years.
My name is Pastor Chris Nenga from Zimbabwe. I just want to thank Everyone Matters Fund and all their partners for partnering with us in saving the community in Zimbabwe by providing resources to give out food parcels and medications to the elderly and to vulnerable kids. We thank you and we appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Good morning, Freedom Church and Everyone Matters Fund. Today we are very excited to distribute the food who are really struggling for the basic needs, and with your support and with your prayers we are going to feed them.
A few weeks ago there was a devastating explosion in the city of Beirut in the docks. It was felt here in Limassol, 150 miles away, and that explosion was devastating for so many people living there in Lebanon. As a church, we wanted to respond straight away, and we were able to send a gift of finances that was able to buy resources, things like toiletries, medical supplies straight away, that was shipped straight to Lebanon on the same day. But as a church, we also wanted to respond to help specifically with people in real need. One of our own people, Odette, whose family join us for church online from Beirut every week, was really affected by this explosion. Their apartment was damaged, the windows were smashed in, and her car was really badly damaged, with all the windows smashed, dents all over the bonnet, and it was a terrible mess. This affects, obviously, her ability to get to work and be mobile. So we were able to collect from Freedom Church through online, through an appeal to the different campuses. We were able to collect enough money to send to Odette to get her car fixed, which was such a blessing to her. As a church, we were able to respond and so quickly pay money into an account and transfer it within days. As a church, we can really celebrate how generous people were and what a gift people were. They were just responded from a heart. Even we didn't have to put out an appeal, people started giving. And then when we did put out an appeal on Facebook, on social media, people were giving so generously to this cause. Thank you so much.
In February 2020, Storm Dennis caused the worst winter floods in recent times. Storm Dennis affected huge swathes of Britain, from the Scottish Highlands to the Cornish coast and large parts of Wales and Northern Ireland. It triggered a record-breaking number of Environment Agency flood warnings and alerts in England. In Herefordshire, more than 200 people were rescued during the Storm Dennis floods, and more than 300 residential properties were devastated by flooding. Roughly 80 local roads became impassable during the aftermath of torrential rain, and at least 71 areas were left in dire need of repair. A major incident was declared in the county, and the council opened rest centres to look after affected residents. We were alerted to the need of one family whose ground floor was completely devastated by the flood. In response, a team of volunteers were gathered to help with the clear-up. many of the family's precious memories. Photos, books, children's toys and personal belongings were ruined. It took the team days to clear out the damaged furniture and carpets, discarded anything touched by the floodwater. The team worked tirelessly to ensure the family could return to their home and were able, through your support, to provide for this family and many others, including meals, groceries and gifts to replace damaged belongings. We are so grateful for your generosity that enabled us to help so many.
In 2019, a devastating cyclone crashed into central Mozambique, wreaking havoc in the lives of millions of people. It brought with it horrendous rain, terrible flooding, and very strong winds that destroyed homes, knocked down buildings, ruined crops, wrecked infrastructure, and left people stranded without hope or without a way forward in life. People were lacking food, shelter, clean water, and many other basic essentials for living. We asked ourselves, what could we do? And we felt the Lord prompting us to respond. So we partnered with a handful of other organizations to take 1,000 water filters that were stationed in Uganda. We flew them down to Malawi and then traveled overland into the center of the disaster zone. There we partnered with a local church organization that helped us to distribute those filters to a total of 18,000 people who didn't have access to clean water. Those filters saved lives. They stopped cholera in its tracks. They help people get back on their feet, and many of them are still in use today because they have a long lifespan. With your help, we're able to do amazing things when God says to go.
Although we love what we've done in the past, we believe that God's vision for our church is that we do more, go further, and make an even greater impact.
In pursuit of this, today we're launching One by One, a new organisation that we believe is going to go on to make a difference to lives and communities all over the world. Today's event is dedicated to telling you all about One by One and explaining how you can get involved.
We're going to watch a creative video now, and then we're going to head over to Cape Town in South Africa, where Josh and Meg Cook are going to tell us all about One by One.
Everyone deserves a crown of honour, to know just how much they matter.
In this life, we can build our own castle of comfort, only to see it crumble and decay. But that is not the narrow way.
One by one, we can lay the stones of hope for another. We can tighten our fist or open wide the hand of generosity. We could hide behind ignorant walls or extend love beyond our borders.
What are you building?
We should labour for love and not for selfish ambition.
The work of your hands displays the heart's condition.
If justice is the heartbeat, then we should carry action in our veins. When every life is given a chance, then the sun cuts through the grey.
Be the light in someone's shadow.
Be the answer to a neighbour in need. Be the shelter in someone else's storm.
To see the fruit, then plant the seeds.
One by one.
From day one of Freedom Church, over 30 years ago, our senior pastors had a vision to be a generous community. Whether it was funding missional opportunities to reach young people with the love of Jesus, or whether it was starting mums groups to be able to connect evangelistically with our church, our senior pastors had a vision for us to be a generous church from the start. Throughout the years, we have been in many ways a profoundly and uniquely generous community of people. But in 2019, our directional leadership team sat down together and they felt compelled to start considering what's the next season of generosity for us as a church. They started to feel that there was more that God wanted to do. They started to feel that in the days ahead, that we would focus on giving more, not less. Over the last 18 months, as a team of people within our church around the world, we've been talking, praying, and considering what it would look like for us to increase our generosity and to increase our intentionality about how we can be wildly generous, not just within our church community, but to many people outside of our church who need freedom, hope, and love. And so today, we're going to spend some time explaining to you and talking through with you some of the vision that we have felt God put on our hearts about how we can be even more generous in the days ahead.
We've come to realise that our strengths lie in fundraising and the promotion of the work that charities are doing all over the world. And so today, I'm really pleased to introduce to you a new charity that we have launched as we pivot our approach to generosity as a church. We are launching a charity called One by One Funds. And its mission is simple, to impact lives through generosity, one by one. So how will One by One work? Well, one single financial gift to One by One will be distributed to not just one charity partner, but multiple charity partners. These partners are in a trusted relationship with One by One and have been approved by our funding committee. Our funding committee is made up of a diverse group of people all around the world, all with relevant professional backgrounds to help us make key decisions about partners. Each charity partner will be linked to a specific fund that we have within One by One. And we're really excited to introduce you to those today. They are the Future Fund, the Liberty Fund, the Mission Fund, and the Emergency Fund. And we're going to hear a little bit more about those funds now.
The future is rarely made by accident. History is rarely written without intention. Dreamers and visionaries are forged and made, not simply born. Here at One by One, we don't just dream about a better future, we fund it. We believe in the power of education and employment to change the future for boys and girls, men and women all over the world. For every child we educate, we can reduce infant and child mortality. A child born to a literate mother is 50% more likely to survive past the age of 5. And every extra year of education reduces the probability of infant mortality by 5% to 10%. We can boost economics. In a study of 100 countries, every 1% increase in women with secondary education boosted a country's annual per capita income growth rate by 0.3 percentage points. For every extra year of primary education, a girl's eventual wage rate increases an average of 10% to 20%. A girl who completes basic education is 3 times less likely to contract HIV. Over the last number of years, we have been funding young men through their education in Kampala, Uganda. What we've learned is that education creates dignity, opportunity, and the chance to fulfill one's potential in life. There are boys and girls all over the world wanting to create a better future for themselves. They are not waiting for charity, they are waiting for a chance. There are men and women all over the world looking to start a business and find ways into employment. They are not waiting for charity, they are waiting for a chance. It is our hope that through the Future Fund, you will partner with us to join a generous community and give individuals the opportunity to fulfill their God-given potential. Partner with us to impact lives through generosity, one by one.
Jesus announced the beginning of his ministry to the world by quoting the prophet Isaiah. He told the listeners in the temple, "The Spirit of the Lord is on me, because he has anointed me to preach good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty to the captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to release the oppressed." Central to the mission of the One by One funds is the Liberty Fund. Through the Liberty Fund, we intend to carry the mission that Jesus describes forward, to proclaim liberty to the captives and to see the oppressed released. How can you build a life for yourself, for your family, or for your community if you live under the fear of violence? Violence is one of the most evil and ruinous of ills in our world today. The violence of war, human trafficking, gender-based violence, FGM, forced labor, domestic violence, and so many other forms of violence that have destroyed lives and communities exist in every nation and continent in this world. It can feel impossible to know how to respond, and yet there is hope. In communities scattered around the world, we find these nonprofit organizations who have not taken the easy path. There are people who have been compelled to serve those affected by the worst forms of violence and the most harrowing situations. There are NGOs who, through their service, have changed the narratives told about certain neighborhoods. Charities who have pulled people out of human trafficking rings, restored violent criminals, and seen them to be a positive member of the community again, delivering countless hours of counseling to the victims of violence and seeing hope restored in hopeless eyes. Hope. Hope for a different tomorrow. Hope that your children can run outdoors and play in peace. Hope despite displacement. Hope in the face of fear. Hope, after all, is not naivety, but a weapon. Hope for peace will become our weapon against violence. So to those NGOs who are bringing hope to people who have suffered violence, it is our conviction to fund you to keep on bringing hope. Please consider partnering with us today to fund a more hopeful and peaceful future for communities around the world.
In a single moment, a person can find themselves in significant need. And this has been so evident to our community of givers over the years. From the floods in southern Africa to the explosions in Beirut, to the coronavirus pandemic that has shook the foundations of the world, our community has responded with generosity. Why? Because a significant need demands a significant response. And in the case of emergencies, that response needs to be quick, substantial, and effective. In the book of Matthew, chapter 25, Jesus paints a picture of God's compassion for people in need and his expectation of his people to respond. In response to those who gave food to the hungry, hospitality to the stranger, comfort to the sick, friendship to the imprisoned, he said, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance the kingdom has prepared for you since the creation of the world." And to those who ignore the cry of those in need, he says, "Depart from me." Jesus' teaching requires our faith to turn into action, but the immediate and overwhelming nature of emergencies can paralyze us in the process. What can I do? How do I help? Which organization do I donate to? The good news is that Jesus' requirement of us is that we do something and not everything. And through the emergency fund, our community of givers can ensure that they are doing just that. The emergency fund will gather donations until such time an emergency occurs. At that time, our network of researchers will get to work to find the most effective way to distribute these funds to a selected NGO who's responding in that area. Nobody is immune from disaster. The emergency fund is here to ensure that if that time occurs, our generous community of givers are able to help.
As Christians, we know a simple truth. The most loving thing that we can ever do for anyone is introduce them to the life changer who is Jesus Christ. At One by One Funds, we're a faith-based organisation, which means that advancing the gospel, sharing the good news about Jesus all around the world, it's something that we're passionate about. There's this moment in Matthew 28 where Jesus speaks to his disciples and he shares something with them that's become known as the Great Commission. He says to them, "Go into all the earth and make disciples of all nations." The reality is there has never been a greater time in human history to spread the good news about Jesus. Why? Because technology exists today that can advance the cause of the gospel around the earth faster than ever. 150 years ago, missionaries would pack their bags and they would set sail across the oceans to carry the good news to new people groups. Today, we don't have to do that. We can share the gospel using technology. It can move around the earth faster than it ever has at any point in history. The kingdom of God requires creativity and innovation. App developers and cybersecurity experts, script writers and videographers. These are some of the modern day missionaries that God is calling to stand up and step forward in this generation. But how do we get the good news about Jesus into nations that are currently hostile to the gospel of Christ? Well, that's the question that the Mission Fund has been set up to help bring an answer to partner with people already doing it and to come up with new innovative solutions in order to see the gospel advanced into parts of the world that are currently closed to it. This may well involve standing with and supporting missionaries who God is calling to go to new countries. It may involve helping to empower people who are reaching people groups local to them to help them advance the gospel in their nation. But it may also involve funding new technologies, helping new apps to be developed, creating new content that's relevant to people because it's in their local language and it connects with them in their local culture. We believe that God is calling us to find new and innovative ways to help advance the gospel in nations all over the world. And this may never require a single person to get on the plane and to fly somewhere. Instead, it involves developing and standing with technology experts to help them come up with solutions to advance the kingdom. We're looking to build partnerships with individuals and organizations that are already working hard to advance the reach of the gospel in nations that are hostile to it at the moment. We believe that this is one of the most valuable investments that our resource can ever make. So would you consider standing with us as we seek to impact lives for God's kingdom, one by one?
I hope you're as excited about these funds as we are. We cannot wait to get going to see people's lives impacted. And it's been so amazing to see the impact of our church's generosity over the years. I know I felt so inspired as I considered everything that people have given to change the lives of people all over the world. We have been rightly moved through compassion for others to act and to act in love to help others who are perhaps less fortunate than us or are in need at that present time. It's amazing. But if you're anything like me, your compassion will be subject to things that come against it. Perhaps it's compassion fatigue, where you are presented with so much need day in, day out, especially over the medium of social media, that you become numb to the needs of other people. Or perhaps your compassion is attacked by fear. There's so much need in the world. Where on earth do you start? Where do you give into to make a practical impact? It can be difficult. And so if our motive to give and give consistently is impacted by things that are around us, how can we put generosity into our lives? How can we adopt consistent generosity? If compassion and emotion in and of itself isn't enough to sustain that practice, then what is? And why is it so important to give generously on a consistent basis? Well, Jesus teaches us in Matthew 25. In verses 34 to 46, it says this: "Then the king will say to those on his right, 'Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was a stranger, and you invited me in. I needed clothes, and you clothed me. I was sick, and you looked after me. I was in prison, and you came to visit me.' Then the righteous will answer him, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry and feed you, or thirsty and give you something to drink? When did we see you a stranger and invite you in, or needing clothes and clothe you? When did we see you sick, or in prison and go to visit you?' The king will reply, 'Truly I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me.' Then he will say to those on his left, 'Depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me nothing to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger, and you did not invite me in. I needed clothes, and you did not clothe me. I was sick and in prison, and you did not look after me.' They will also answer, 'Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or needing clothes or sick or in prison and did not help you?' He will reply, 'Truly I tell you, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me.'" Jesus promises access to heavenly inheritance and blessing because this first group of people gave to people in need. He then addresses the second group of people and says that they will not have access to these things because they did not give to the people they saw who were in need. The message is stark, but it's not novel, it's not new. Jesus is consistent with his message throughout the Bible, that it is better to give than it is to receive, that it is better to build up for yourself heavenly treasures rather than treasures on earth, that we should, as a church, share what we have. This message is throughout the Bible, and so we need to take that and form it as part of our daily lives. So what will sustain consistent, generous giving if it's not emotion? Well, it's actually conviction. It's the conviction that comes from God when we read his word, where his word shows us that consistent, generous giving is an essential expression of our faith in Jesus. And if it's an essential expression of our faith in Jesus, that needs to be something that is coming out of us all the time. And so as we consider today the direction we're taking as a church, we want to encourage everybody listening that there is something that you can do today. It can often feel overwhelming when you hear a message like this, and we don't know which way to turn, who to give to, or what to do. The good news today is that God doesn't ask us to do everything. He just asks us to do something with whatever he has put in our hands. And I want to share with you today 3 simple steps that you can take in response to this message. The very first thing you can do is pray. We know that we can't do anything without the power of prayer behind it. And so we want to invite you today to pray with us and for us as we support the work of charities all over the world in making a difference, in impacting lives through generosity one by one. In order to fuel your prayers, after the event there will be a link sent round where you can sign up to our monthly newsletter. And this newsletter we hope will be a source of inspiration for you, because it will inform you about the work that our charity partners are doing and how people's money is making a difference in the lives of people all over the world. So please sign up to that after the event if you're interested. The second thing you can do is share. You can share our social media posts on Facebook and on Instagram. You can share information about One by One through our website or just through good old-fashioned word of mouth. We would be so grateful if you would share about the work of One by One so that we can support our charity partners the best way possible. The final thing you can do today is give. There is a link at the bottom of the screen that will direct you to the giving page of our website. And we are so grateful for any and every gift towards One by One. But we want to ask you specifically today to consider giving on a consistent basis to One by One. Consistent giving to One by One means that consistent giving can happen to our charity partners, which means that they can do the work that they are best at, impacting lives by generosity one by one. So we want to ask you to consider whether you can give a monthly gift to One by One or a bi-monthly gift, whatever your circumstances are. We want to ask you to consider consistent generosity so that you can be a part of impacting lives all over the world. Let's be a church that gives our first and best to those in need, just as Jesus teaches us to do so.
The vision is simple: to impact lives through generosity one by one. We are a community of generous givers who are convinced that it is more blessed to give than to receive. We're a community who have witnessed the transformative power of generosity in the lives of people all over the world. We're a community who want our future to be more generous than our past. We are fundraisers, we are advocates. We know that we are one part of a bigger story. We believe in the power of partnership. Partnership which enables us to provide education and employment to those who are without, to help individuals find freedom from violence and abuse, to provide relief for those impacted by natural or man-made disasters, and to advance the Christian faith in remote or persecuted areas of our world. A global movement driven by love and compassion, impacting lives through generosity, one by one.
How great is it to hear about One by One and each of the 4 funds? We're really looking forward to journeying with you as we identify incredible organisations working around the world to support out of each of the funds.
The first thing that we've committed to support through our Future Fund is education for the young men who've been a part of our Freedom Heroes ministry in Kampala.
Yes, through the One by One Future Fund, working in partnership with an organisation called Abana Ministries in Uganda. We'll be working to ensure that each of the young men that has been part of our Heroes ministry is able to finish up their education. And we know in the future we'll be identifying many more incredible organisations to support through the One by One funds.
Today, as we launch this exciting new vision, we want to create a moment for us all to think, pray, and consider how we respond to this vision as Generation Generous.
We know that if you're listening to this and you're part of Freedom Church, you're probably already tithing into our church. But in addition to this, we're asking you to consider giving 1% of your income into One by One on a monthly basis. If everyone who's giving into our church right now does this, over the next year we'll have over $150,000 to use to make a difference in communities all around the world.
Help me, Holy Ghost. I need you more than anything. And all my best ideas are yours. So who am I but what you make of me? So help me, God. Breathe on my weakness, for all I want is to be like Jesus. I don't have much, but what I have is yours to use. So make my whole life your upper room. Help me, Holy Ghost. I need you more than I can say. May your thoughts become my own, till the Father's will be done in me. So help me, God. Breathe on my weakness, for all I want is to be like Jesus. I don't have much, but what I have is yours to use. So make my whole life your upper room. Take it all, Lord, take it all. Jesus, I don't have much, but what I have is yours to use. So make my whole life your upper room, your upper room. When was the last time we said, "Help me, Holy Ghost"? When was the last time we surrendered to Him? We're going to keep playing for a moment, and let's just take this opportunity now to surrender once again to the will of the Holy Spirit. Just open yourself up and let Him come in to your living room, to your kitchen, in your car, wherever you're watching this. Let's welcome Him in right now. Come on. So help me, God, breathe on my weakness, for all I want is to be like Jesus. I don't have much, but what I have is yours to use. So make my whole life your upper room.
What a powerful moment of worship and reflection. As we finish up today, let's remember the three things that Meg asked of each of us. 1, to pray for one by one. 2, to tell our friends and family about one by one. And 3, to give to one by one. If you'd like to set up giving today, please head over to our website at onebyOnefunds.org.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been great to be together. Join us again next week for the final part of our Generation Generous series. We love you. Have a great week.